So how would you define embodied spirituality? What does that mean for you?
Well, I guess I've only ever known embodied spirituality, really, because my path started with a lot of psychological and emotional difficulty. And my way of discovering spirituality was through connecting to the body. I didn't know anything about spirituality. I didn't have any idea what spirituality was until I connected to the body. And in one moment, in a moment of panic, in a moment of anxiety, my awareness went down into my body and I felt my feelings for the first time. That feeling happened to be intense panic. So I felt the feeling of intense panic for the first time. And in that dropping awareness away from the head and down into the body and feeling just a single feeling of intense panic, the panic when met softened. When met, I stopped resisting it. I stopped flying off into all of these panicked thoughts and I just whoosh, came into the body. And in that experience, I entered into a place of just complete bliss inside. And I entered into a place of, at the time, I described it as ecstasy. Now, I'd never heard of anything called spirituality. I just associated it with like Christian religion, or I just thought it was a load of nonsense. I'd never even thought about it. I was probably like 23 years old at the time. And I'd been suffering for years and years and years in a constant state of fear, a constant state of psychological turmoil. And suddenly here I was, having dropped awareness down into a single feeling. I was at peace. And I was looking around at my family and I could see the joy in them again. And I could feel joy within myself again. And I came and I had the sense of being back home. I was in exactly the same room, but before there was a coldness to my experience, a sense of something just immense was missing, something just like, what the hell is this cold, horrible world? And in meeting a single feeling and dropping back into my body and coming away from my mind, I was back home. And I wouldn't have necessarily had this language for it then. I just felt this sense of ecstasy and peace and like, oh my God, there's a way out of this hell that I'm in. And then I stand up, I don't speak to anyone, I go out into my garden, I'm walking around the garden and the thought comes into my head, oh, this is what spirituality is. So from the very first time I'd ever thought about spirituality, it was through the body. So I didn't really know any other way except discovering spirituality through the doorway of the body. So then what I did, I became pretty obsessed with coming down into my body, because every time a feeling came up and I saw that it was taking me into difficulty in the mind, suffering in the mind, and it was quite intense, I just used that as an invitation back down into the body. So my initial awakenings, my initial period of waking up to my being, or spirit, or whatever you want to call it, this love that's here, was through the doorway of the body. So yeah, embodied spirituality. What was the question again?
Can't remember.
Anyway, embodied spirituality is waking up to spirit through the doorway of the body. Waking up to spirit whilst including everything within the body and everything that the body includes, including the mind. Because everything is a doorway to a deeper beingness. Any time where you feel something feels off, something feels right, there's a sense of suffering, there's a sense of tension, there's a sense of tightness, that very thing is a doorway to a deeper place of beingness. So embodied spirituality is using all of the all of what we have inside, all of our psychological and emotional world, and the world out there, using it all to awaken to a deeper beingness. And you do it by going into what it is we might have been running away from for a long time. So it's an in and through approach instead of an up and out approach. Having said that, I did have a period of time, maybe 6 months or so, where I really hammered it with the up and out approach. And that was helpful, because what that did is it helped me find real clarity at a mind level. It stopped me from seeking so much at the level of mind, and it brought a lot of clarity at the level of mind. So for a period of time, and I think it was only really about 6 months, I basically forgot all about embodied spirituality, and I just went full ham on, okay, what am I? What is this awareness which is here, this awareness which knows my experience? So I like to include both, coming to know this awareness which is already free, which doesn't need to heal, which doesn't need you as a human being to be any different than what you are, coming to know that. And you can find that through meditation, you can find that through inquiry. And then bringing awareness, bringing attention back into all of these places inside which feel cut up and hurt and that don't feel like what your being feels like. And in going down into our humanity, we can transmutate our humanity. We can transform our humanity. And it's pretty cool.